So very good morning to everyone. I was planning to get Dr. Lim and I tried to get Dr. Lim online too, but seems that he is very busy and he could not spare some time. But however, I had my back up and so I am going to do my presentation about the 5 hindrances, the obstacles that actually become the reasons that we do not practice Sunya. So you see on the screen these monks, they are trying to meditate, but something stops them from meditating. What is it that stops us from meditating? Why is it so difficult sometimes to just sit still and observe your breath? There are so many things that just don't seem to work right when we want to do that. There are certain things that stop us from focusing our mind and controlling our thoughts. And these 5 hindrances, as the Buddha called them, are the reason we are not able to meditate. We are not able to do our practice of Sunya. So what are these? Okay, so we are going to go through them, and these basically the 5 obstacles, we call them, for practicing Sunya. And how are we going to overcome them? Now, the first thing very important is to understand what are we trying to achieve here. Okay, now when you look at this picture again, the reason I'm going to show you this picture is, again, you're going to see these monks in different types of states. The one you see in the middle is basically still engaged in his sensory desire. The one on the left hand side is really angry. We call it ill will. And then the one in the center is moving his heads in all directions. He's restless and worrying. The one towards the right is in doubt with all the question marks. And the one on the extreme right is almost dozed off because of sloth and torpor. Yes, this is exactly what we are going to understand here. But if you go to understand this, you need to first understand what are we trying to achieve here. Now, you see behind me on the screen, you see clear water. And the water is so clean and clear that light, when it falls on the surface, can pass through, and it can actually show us through the water, and it seems that it's completely transparent. The reason being, that is the nature of water. Water is completely transparent. That is its nature. But what happens to water? Water over a period of time can get polluted or dirty. So this transparent water, which can help us to see through, that's exactly how Buddha explained the mind. The mind is like water. It is something that does not exist in a normal state usually. It is the medium through which every exchange of fluids that happen, or matter exchange that happen in the world, happens through water. Similarly, the mind is the medium through which everything happens. So what are those 5 hindrances? So in Sunya, we say there are 2 ways to achieve your status of a Zen master, or to achieve the highest state of peace and prosperity. First, you need to start your practice of Sunya. And the second one is very difficult. Guess what that is? Continue. Keep on going. Keep on going. If you are able to do that, you will one day definitely achieve, as Buddha said, within 7 days, 7 weeks, 7 months, maximum 7 years. So that is the promise of the Buddha. To begin with, one is the sensual desire. We will delve deep into it, understanding what that is. Second is ill will. Third one is sloth and torpor. Fourth one is restlessness and worry. And the fifth one is skeptical doubt. What is sensual desire? In the mind, it always hunts for sensual pleasures. Okay, we have 5 senses: our sense of sight, sound, our smell, our taste, and even physical feeling. They are our senses. Along with the mind's curiosity, the senses also have a desire to hold on to the object. These 5 senses, they can distract you. You see, in Sunya, we always start from, when we do a retreat also, we make sure that we help you to manage your senses. Your food is very simple. Your living, we make sure everybody wear the same clothes so that there is no kind of differentiation, so that everybody look the same. We make sure that We will all sit on the same environment, so there is no differentiation. All these five senses, we try to bring them to a kind of an equilibrium. One who can control his senses, they say, can control the world, and that is where the challenge is. So the Buddha has very nicely explained that the first hindrance, and when I say first, means that would be on the top of his priority list, and definitely, how did he explain that? Here the simile that was used was the water mixed with different colors, beautiful colors. Do you think there's a water with all different colors? Can you see through it? No. So once your senses are engaged and you lose your focus and attention, you cannot see clearly. The mind, if it's engaged in its senses, it's very, very difficult for it to concentrate and to meditate. Okay, that's your first thing. Then what comes forth is, second is ill will. Now, ill will is kind of a negative feeling. Like the sensual feeling was pleasure, seeking pleasure, that I want this, I want this, I want this. Ill will is something exactly opposite, I don't like this. You have some feeling against resentment for somebody, and it is very strong, this feeling, like that day if you had a fight or you were angry at somebody, when you sat to practice, it's very difficult to concentrate. Okay, why? Because suddenly it becomes difficult to focus. You have to understand this, that you need to watch your feeling. We make sure that the feeling is seen as a feeling. If a feeling of hatred comes while practicing towards somebody, we just observe that feeling as a feeling. We don't do anything. So here, when the example was to be given, what simile this can be given, it's like water, but this time the water is boiling. Imagine like you're really angry. You have your mind, which is basically supposed to be calm and transparent, but here what is happening? It's boiling. Can you see through boiling water? Can you see through bubbles passing by? No. So even though it is self-inflicted feelings, the mind loses its ability to stay focused. Then we go on to the next one. That's sloth and torpor. Now, sloth and torpor is basically an half-hearted action with little or no effort or concentration. Why does this happen? Because of what we call the heaviness and laziness of the body and the mind. It's like, when you practice with that kind of a mindset, you're actually carrying a snake with you in your lap. So what you should do, you should remember this, that carrying a kind of laziness or carrying a kind of heaviness when you're practicing, you're carrying a snake. Do you think it is going to let you sit still? Okay, so it will never let you concentrate. In the Samyukta Nikaya, these are the examples I'm giving you are not my examples. They are from the Samyukta Nikaya, and here it is said that the sloth and torpor is like stagnant water that is not moving, but completely loaded with weeds, grasses, and everything growing in it, mushy. Do you think light can pass through it? I think impossible. It's too difficult. So for a person with this, maybe physically he is not well, physically he is sick, he is already heavy. This becomes so difficult for him to even practice meditation. He can sleep for sure, but he cannot practice meditation. Okay. Then the fourth one is restlessness and worry. Now, it's the inability to calm the mind and keep one's mind in focus. This is very nicely explained, It's like, we call it the monkey mind. We all know the mind is a monkey. Feeling uncomfortable, suddenly they have pain, they have this and that. They are not able to sit. And very often you will see them moving, you will see them coughing, okay, and then they cannot practice. They just leave the practice. They run away. But in Sunya, we make sure the doors are closed, so they cannot run away. Here, it is very nicely explained what exactly this is. It is basically the water where the wind is blowing very hard. And because the wind blows hard, the surface of the water now starts making a kind of a turbulence, waves coming in. And these waves, they actually are the reason because of which the water loses its ability of seeing through. You can see all that with your own eyes once you start teaching. Okay, that is why in Sunya we say teaching is important. And then as you move forward, the fifth one is basically what? lack of conviction, or we call it doubt. The doubt can actually be the result through which you are not able to perform well, because your mind will keep on questioning. There are many people who, before even practicing 9 to 0, it's the most, I think, the world's most simplest way. Do not believe anybody, just practice for yourself and see whether it makes sense. Test for yourself, analyze for yourself whether I am able to finish 9 to 0, 99 to 0. Am I able to do that? That's nothing you want to believe or trust somebody. It's about experiencing for yourself. Once there is a doubt, I think it's the end of many things, because it is said a doubt in somebody's mind is exactly like muddy water. Okay, muddy water. Now the water, when it mixed with doubt, is like water mixed with all the mud. So mind, if there is doubt in your mind, means your mind is full of mud. And once there is mud, forget the ability of seeing through. It's already started to get corrupt. If you want to practice Sunya, you need to overcome these obstacles. So how do we overcome these obstacles? Always remember the acronym RAIN, rain. So remember, with the rain you wash away all these 5. What does that mean? It means, R means to recognize. Recognize that these are the kind of state of my mind, First is recognize. When you recognize, like we see in medicine, a doctor, if he is able to diagnose, half of the job is done, because that's the biggest challenge, diagnosis. Once the diagnosis is done, the second part is very, very easy, and that is the treatment. So once you are able to recognize that this is your state of mind, the second thing you do is what? You accept. Oh yeah, because many a times we have this feeling that no, it's not true, and we are not ready to accept. Even though we can see our mind jumping like a monkey, we are not ready to accept that. Okay, so we say that the second most important thing is to accept. Then once you accept, then you start your investigation. Investigate. Why am I doing this? So there is a way, and that is through the practice of Sunya. And now you will realize why we say Samatha and Vipassana both are important. And the fourth one is non-identity. Okay, it's also called anatman, not to identify yourself as the problem. This is the way in which you can actually handle all these problems. So if you look at it, even though there are 5 obstacles, the easiest way is to recognize, accept, investigate, and then as a third person, okay, keep on practicing Shunya so that you are able to get rid of that particular problem. So this is what basically we wanted to cover here, and with all the similes that we have given, this come from a very old sutra again, okay, and we are able to understand how the mind is considered like water, having the basic nature to still. When it is still, can allow light pass through, it can be transparent, but once it is disturbed, it loses its basic property of letting through light pass through. It loses its ability to become transparent. The same is with the mind. People are not able to see things clearly, and because they don't have the right view, we are seeing so many conflicts around the world. So what is the solution? The solution lies in a very simple practice. To practice to let the mind settle, to let the mind calm down, and that can be done very easily with the practice of Shunya. Okay, so it is high time that these people need to practice discipline, and no other better thing than to practice Shunya. Shunya actually is seeding your mind with discipline. Okay, with discipline comes focus. Okay, because you discipline, so you're focused to achieve that. Okay, with focus you will have more calm mind, more stable mind. With more stable mind, you achieve a kind of peace and serenity that helps you see through your own mind. Okay, your own problems will be very much visible. Because they are visible, you're able to solve them. And how do you solve them? Again, we went with the last concept of rain. What was that? Recognize, accept, investigate, and don't identify. Non-identity. Don't identify yourself with a problem. The problem is the problem. So I've seen many a time doctor getting angry at somebody, and then he also tells it very clearly, I'm angry at not you, but the problem in you. Okay, I'm angry at the issue that you have created, not on you. So we are always angry, or we react to the situation, not to the person who represents the situation. Exactly. So only the object matter, not the subject. So with this, we are on the close of our today's session. Okay, and we'll see everyone again on Sunday on the another session on Sunya Talks. So till then, thank you so much. Keep practicing Sunya. Thank you.
पूरी दुनिया में ये स्प्रेड होगा. When India started to practice Sunya, जब इंडिया ने प्रैक्टिस करना शुरू कर दिया शून्य का, but the ancient Chinese